Hello, everybody. Welcome back. That's right. Welcome back. Because guess what? We've been gone for a couple of weeks due to basketball, other things that are going on. Me and Ref Brandon have not been able to get the show together. I know Ref was available one week, and then the other week I was available. So it's just been one of those things that happens sometimes when you're doing a lot of different things. Of course, Ref Brandon's a referee and also does a lot of basketball for high school sports. And of course, me, I do everything. So, but we're glad. We're glad we're back. We're talking about Rasslin and Racin, your favorite show brought to you by Ardensburg and Grill in Central South Carolina, Dorsey Auto Sales in Anderson, South Carolina, and Beef and Rib in Westminster, South Carolina. Me and Bref hope to get down to Beef and Rib one of these days soon and do a show there again with Angie. So we're going to try to get that done. But folks, let's bring him in. You know who I'm talking about. I'm talking about the man with the plan, the guy who thinks he's the best looking guy in America, but has yet to prove it. Anyway, we're talking about Ref Brandon. Brandon, how's it going?
Fantastic. How you doing?
Oh, Ref, we're doing great. We're doing great. Glad to have you. We're finally back together again. And there's been a lot going on. But before we get started, Ref, tell us what you've been doing the last 2 weeks going on.
Well, I think it was 2 weeks ago tonight I had to cover some high school basketball for a local radio station, a guy that normally does it during basketball season, also coaches tennis, and he had his opening tennis game that night, so I was doing some radio work doing high school basketball, and then I had a wrestling show this past Saturday. I didn't have one, but the Saturday before that, I was in East Denali for SWA Wrestling. But now this upcoming weekend, I've got a show Saturday and I've got a show Sunday.
Well, there you go, folks. Make sure you get out, support local independent wrestling. That's something we're huge about here on this show. Not just because Brandon does it, but because it's something that is great family entertainment that doesn't cost you an arm and a leg. Because I'm telling you right now, the WWE is in a lot of trouble when it comes to their ticket sales for WrestleMania in Vegas. But we're going to wait on that one. First, let's get straight to it. Brought to you by Ardensburg and Grill in Central South Carolina. Let's get to our NASCAR report. And of course, folks, I just want to rub it in a little bit. A couple weeks back, actually about 4 weeks back, we did this back in January. Me and Ref was talking about who we thought might be the guys going into this year. He said Denny Hamlin because he figured it was going to be this last year. Then I can't remember who else. Was it? No, it wasn't Elliott. It was who was that you picked, Ref?
I should have wrote it down because I forgot. But
I think it drives the number 5 car, former champion.
It might have been Kyle Larson. I think it was Kyle Busch.
Yeah,
I was thinking it was Kyle Busch. I don't really know.
Yeah, I don't think you put Kyle Busch on there. He's your favorite driver, but I think you didn't do your fandom on that. You might have had him as your dark horse. But anyway, Tyler Reddick wins the Daytona 500, and then he turns around and luckily wins the Atlanta race. And I'm telling you what, Ref, the thing that they talked about a lot, and of course, when I watched I didn't get to watch Daytona. I did watch highlights, but I didn't get to watch that race. I did watch Atlanta. This car and the way they've got it now is so much better racing. I mean, these guys there were so many lead changes. So many cars were able to do things that normally you don't see cars in the back of the pack are able to get up there and do it. New drivers. I mean, you tell me, Ref, what did you think of this past 2 weeks of racing?
Well, before the season started, I told you this is probably the most excited I've been for a NASCAR season in a long time. And I've been a fan for 30-plus years. But, they made so many rules in the offseason, rule changes that seemed like they were trying to get back to the glory days of NASCAR. And then, the guys that, run NASCAR now pretty much said that they admit that the previous regime messed up by the fans making too many decisions. So they're going to make their own decisions now. They brought back Rockingham and they brought back North Wilkesboro and they've increased the horsepower and they've decreased on the road courses. So it looks like they're trying to get back to the glory days of NASCAR. So if they're trying to fix their mistakes, all you can do is give them a chance. And through 2 races, I'm glad I was excited about it because to me, they've both been really good races. But now, a lot of people say that you don't know how good you are and what your car's really got until you get to an actual legit 1.5 mile, 1 mile racetrack. So to some people, we won't be in the actual season until race 4 because we had pretty much back-to-back what they call restrictor plate races at Daytona and Atlanta. And now this weekend, we got a road course. So week 4, when we go to Phoenix, will be our first actual, mile, mile and a half legitimate racetrack. But I thought both races were fantastic. But you just can't make NASCAR fans happy because no matter what you do, they've got to find something to complain about. And I just don't know how you can be a race fan and then not be satisfied with the product so far and still find the negative. I just don't understand it. I thought both races were tremendous.
I agree with you. I thought both races was, like I said, I only saw highlights of Daytona, but from people that watched it, that were NASCAR fans back in the day and are trying to get back into it, they said if it keeps on going like this, they will get back into NASCAR and they will be watching it more. So, all we can do is just hope that happens. I think it's good for sports. It's just good, period, to have NASCAR doing well. Especially in the South. I mean, it is what it is, folks. I mean, NASCAR was never meant to be a Northern sport. It was never to be a Western sport. I mean, yeah, we do have fans and we do have some drivers from there, but it was born in the South and it was a Southern type thing. And now they're starting to get back. I mean, the only thing left is to add Winston back as the sponsor.
That would be nice.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I don't want to get back into the cigarette stuff, but that's the only thing left that hasn't been done. So, anyway, it was a great race. Hey, Ref, tell us where the points are right now if you got a chance. So, do you got that pulled up?
Yeah, well, really the top 2 right now is the only thing that matters. But Tyler Reddick, since he's won both races, has a 40-point lead. And the second place driver is probably the one that surprises people. The second place driver right now is his teammate, Darrell Wallace Jr., better known as Bubba. But, Bubba's off to a fantastic start. He finished 10th at Daytona, and he finished 8th Sunday at Atlanta. But when Reddick wins both races, Wallace kind of gets overshadowed. But, 2 races don't mean a whole lot. But to have a 40-point lead through 2 races, that kind of tells you the kind of start that Reddick is off to. But, I've never been a Bubba Wallace fan, but seeing all these race fans hate on him for doing nothing kind of makes me develop into being a Bubba Wallace fan because it seems like it don't matter what he does, the NASCAR fans complain about it. And I just don't understand it. I know he rubbed folks the wrong way when he first started, but that's been 5 or 6 years ago. I mean, if we're still mad about that, we've got some growing up to do. But as far as, the last couple of years, he hasn't done anything. And it seems like no matter what he does, people complain about it. And I just do not understand it. Somebody took a picture Sunday because Bubba Wallace won stage 2 Sunday because the caution flag came out. Any NASCAR fan knows that once the caution comes out, if it's the last lap, it stops right there. Well, when the caution came out, Bubba Wallace had the lead. But since William Byron hit the start-finish line first, they were complaining, saying, how did Wallace win this stage? Well, you know the rules. That's been the rules of NASCAR for 100 years. That's one thing that ain't changed. When the caution comes out, it's frozen. That's always been a rule.
It's true. I agree. Bubba Wallace kind of rubbed me the wrong way about the noose thing that they found in the garage, and it come to find out it had been there for like 6 years, and it wasn't really a noose. It was just the pull down for the garage door.
Yeah.
So I mean, that was one thing that tore people up, but it's done, it's over with. I mean, let the guy prove it on the track.
Yeah, and I think that's what so many fans are still mad about because that was immature and dumb and stupid. But I mean, for heaven's sake, it was more than 5 years ago. I mean, you can't hold a grudge for so long. I mean, you got to let that go.
I agree. And folks, if you're a NASCAR fan, I mean, I could see if Bubba had done something wrong on the track, but right now he's just like all the other drivers. He's just trying to win a race. He's just trying to do it for sponsors. Get a life, get over it, and, just support your driver and quit doing all this crying. I mean, that's what causes certain things. I mean, I just don't want to go back to what we was at. Let's stay with what we're doing. So anyway, there we go with our NASCAR report. And I tell you what, and something else that's going on in this area is they're trying to save Greenville Pickens Speedway. I don't know if a lot of you might know this. This is a legendary speedway. Dale Earnhardt was huge. This is where he got a lot of his wins. Richard Petty. They've had NASCAR drivers come in and warm up on these tracks when they was going to go to New Hampshire because the track is just like the one over in Loudon. So anyway, the track has been decayed. They tried to save it a couple years ago, and now it's been turned into an industrial park. So if you want to get in with something that it means a lot, just like they did with North Wilkesboro, look into the Greenville Pickens Speedway and voice out to the city council that's right now deciding what they're going to do with it. All right, enough of that.
You said that reminded me that one of the guys I wrestle with named Eric Thunder actually put a video on Facebook probably 2 weeks ago, and it was pretty much what Greenville Pickens Speedway looked like, 20 years ago to what it looked like now. And he was pretty much saying the same thing you just said, trying to get folks to, reach out and bring this racetrack back.
Exactly. I mean, I know it takes money. It's going to probably take several millions of dollars to get the track back into racing condition, especially if they're going to have any kind of NASCAR events or whatever the AC Delco League or whatever the league they go in with. They're going to have to make some major improvements to it. It's been, people have tore up the. It's just in bad shape. But anyway, that's my little spiel for the night. But now let's go to professional wrestling. And this weekend is the Elimination Chamber. Ref, what's your thoughts on the women's Elimination Chamber? We got a surprise entry in it, but some other ones are there. The winner takes on Jade Cargill, which makes it interesting. Will it be Tiffany Stratton? Will it be Rhea Ripley? Who do you think, Ref?
Well, I was thinking about this the other day because, WrestleMania is right around the corner, and I still don't know a clear direction for anybody outside of the 4 or 5 main stars. So I could see anybody winning this match, and it wouldn't surprise me, especially now, they were building up the division so bad, and then Braun Breaker hurt himself, and then last night on Raw, Bronson Reed gets hurt. So depending on how long Braun's out and Bronson's out, you may get to WrestleMania and most of the division ain't even there because of injuries. So, and now Bianca Belair hurt her finger. She's been out for 12 years. So, there's really no clear direction for anybody right now. But if I had to make a prediction for the women, I'm going to say Kiana James.
Okay. There you hear it, folks. He picking Kiana James. Give me Rhea Ripley because I just think that it's time to. I think Rhea gives them the star power they need to take on Cargill as far as size, muscle, and someone that if they're going to take it off Cargill, it gives it on somebody who would probably be good with it, and that's Ripley. The only issue there, of course, is she's a tag champion. I could see them losing those titles before WrestleMania, so that way the tag titles can be on the line with someone like I forgot, over on SmackDown. You know who I'm talking about, right? The two big ladies. I can't remember their names. Saved my life. Anyway.
And I think for the men's chamber, I'm going to go with Trick Williams.
Oh, Trick Williams. You think it'll be Trick Williams winning that and taking on
Trick seems to be doing a phenomenal job, and they're pushing him, and he deserves it. He's good. So I'll go with Trick Williams for the men's chamber and Kiana James for the women's chamber.
Give me LA Knight. I'm going to take LA Knight in the men's chamber. Kind of like what I told you before that didn't happen at the last pay-per-view. I think that if they're going to do something with LA Knight, it has to happen now. And I think him versus Drew McIntyre would be a great WrestleMania match. You get LA Knight, his main event, whether it's at the start or at the end, the fact that he would be taking on Drew McIntyre in the main event, I think would make more sense. It'll probably be night one because I think night two is going to be CM Punk and Roman Reigns for the title. And they might even throw in Finn Balor, depending on what happens this weekend at Elimination Chamber. I don't see him winning, but I think he could do something where they make it a triple threat. You know how that goes. That way the title could come off Punk and they could blame, Punk can blame Finn Balor for him losing the title to Roman. But me personally, I think it's time to put LA Knight in the main event at WrestleMania. He's been a mid-card all his career. It's time to make him the main event at a main pay-per-view.
I think he stays one. I just think they missed the boat. They waited too long. Nobody cares now. I think he's going to stay mid-card.
Well, he still has a huge backing, and according to their sales thing that I actually keep an eye on some of this, he is actually their third best sales in merchandise. So he's still got a huge cult following as far as things go. Slim Jim is pushing him and Jey Uso. I don't think Uso gets back in there. I mean, I was really surprised. I think it was supposed to have been Bronson Reed to win that match, honestly, because what I understand, it changed at the last second. And it was actually supposed to be Braun Breaker in that match to start off. Then Reed got hurt.
They had to change it because Bronson got hurt during the match last night. But Bronson was going to win that match.
So they've already had two things that happen, and I think the smart thing is to put it on LA Knight. Do not put it on Jey Uso. He's a tag champion. You're going to want your tag team champions in a big match. You want the best tag team there is right now. I could see the New Day versus the Usos versus whoever at WrestleMania in a triple threat or four-way, fatal four-way, because they always want to get as many stars on this card as they can, and we know how that happens. But I personally think if you're going to do it, my pick is LA Knight because it makes sense to push LA Knight against Drew McIntyre. Whether he wins or loses is not the question. It's the fact you put him in the main event at WrestleMania. If you want to put him on, if you want to give the title at Backlash right afterwards or wait till SummerSlam, that's fine with me. But I do not put the title back on Cody. I would actually put Cody going after the U.S. or the Intercontinental title. You know what I'm saying? I just think, or have him go to Raw, because they're going to be trading off some stars here. Because if LA Knight does win, he's going to SmackDown again. He's not going to be on Raw. He'll be taking on Drew, and he'll stay over there. I think Cody comes to Raw because they've been wanting to put Cody on Raw. And I think this would be the perfect opportunity to bring Cody over and let him fight Roman again, unfortunately, or fight CM Punk, or... No, I don't see that. I was about to say CM fighting Finn Balor. I don't see that. But I think Punk versus Rhodes would be a good way to see who goes against Roman at SummerSlam. You know what I'm saying? I think it's time for some new storylines. And the best way to do that, LA Knight takes on Drew McIntyre. And because I think Knight, because of his popularity right now, makes more sense to take on Drew McIntyre because the fans can't make up their mind on Cody Rhodes right now. It's either cheer or boo. It's almost like the John Cena effect where you have, let's go Cena, Cena sucks. You know what I'm saying? It's like a half and half.
That's kind of why I'm going with Trick Williams, because it seems like for the last year or so they've had the same guy stuck in the main event picture, and I think Trick Williams would be something different, somebody different. But, Cody Rhodes, and you and I have talked about this, numerous times, even back in AEW days. Cody Rhodes is a phenomenal wrestler, always has been. But there's nothing about him that stands out to you. Yeah, I see it, son. He's Dusty's son, but outside of that, I mean, he's a phenomenal wrestler, but his look is average. His music is average. His moveset is average. Everything about him is average. So people love him because he's Dusty's son. But after a while, you get tired of him being shoved down your throat. over and over and over. It's kind of like Roman Reigns back in the day when, Vince constantly shoved Roman Reigns in everybody's throat. After a while, you got tired of it. For the past 2 years, it's been Cody, 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 Cody. And I just think everybody's just tired of him. You want to cheer for the guy because he's a phenomenal guy and one of the few wrestlers that everybody that meets him says he's one of the nicest people ever. But after a while, you just get tired of him being shoved down your throat over and over and over and over and over again. And I just think people will just get tired of Cody Rhodes.
I agree with you. And if you want to do new storylines, I think you pull him off of SmackDown, bring him to Raw, and team him up against Punk or team him with somebody and go after the tag titles. I mean, I still think he's got your main event status type star. He could still pull tickets, but at the same time, you need to see what LA Knight can do. We know Drew can do it. Drew's pulling good ticket sales right now, even in the U.S., because he's just one of those guys you love to hate. He's a Ric Flair. He's a big guy. He's got attitude. He loves to blame the fans, but yet have them cheer for him. He's just one of those guys that the fans have embraced very well. But
yeah, I think with Cody needs to do like they used to do back in the day, where you lost and you had to go to the back of the line and start over again. Because Cody will lose a match, and the very next week he's main eventing again. It's like you're not making this guy do anything. You're just handing this guy spots, and I think that's what's made the fans grow tired of him because of that. Like every constant week, no matter what Cody does the week before, he's main event match. And it's like he's just being handed stuff. And people get tired of that because if you're an old school wrestling fan, you know that back in the day, that didn't happen. You had to earn your spot. And now, since Roman Reigns is part-time, Cody's kind of that guy that just gets handed the spot because he's Cody Rhodes. And that's why he gets it. And I think to a lot of fans, that gets old and that gets tiresome. But, can you imagine if Seth Rollins can't make it back by WrestleMania, if Seth is out, and Bronson Reed is out, and Braun Breaker's out, you pretty much going to have to go into WrestleMania, and your only big-time stars as far as, long-time veterans is really going to be Drew McIntyre, CM Punk, and Randy Orton. As far as guys that are, established, long-time main event guys. And now, Triple H don't do what Vince does and bring back all these, old celebrities. So I doubt you'll see any, celebrities because you don't see that at Mania anymore. So it may be a different looking Mania this year as far as, long-time established stars because you got so many of them that are out hurt. Now AJ's retired, and, and then Brock Lesnar lays out a open challenge, but no idea who's going after that. It could be a rookie for all we know.
We know who that is. It's going to be Olafable. I mean, come on. That's what everybody was cheering. And they did that on purpose to see what the fans were going to be yelling. And of course, who would not want to see Olafable versus Brock Lesnar? Because I could see Brock drop into him because of his size, because of his power, and the things that he can do in the ring. I think that would make sense to put him against Brock Lesnar.
Well, you better enjoy seeing Brock Lesnar because Brock's going to retire come probably SummerSlam.
Yep, he's looked down for retirement. I could actually see, and also we got to remember when we were talking about Jay and Jimmy. Jimmy will be leaving pretty soon because he's fixing to have a baby pretty soon. He's going to be a father, so he's going to take time off to be with his wife. So it makes sense for Jay and Jimmy at WrestleMania to lose the belts to whoever. I mean, I could see a Rhodes and Orton tag team. Could you? I mean, I could really see Randy Orton and Rhodes being a tag team in that.
And I'd be okay with that because it would definitely get Cody Rhodes out of the main event picture because he'd be, a tag team champion.
Yeah. Well, they main event because it was him and Orton. They would put him against, I mean, I hate putting guys together at Mania that haven't been together long and having guys like the New Day and the Usos. But like I said, the Usos are going to lose either before WrestleMania or at WrestleMania. I do not see them holding those titles very long for the simple fact Jimmy's going to be leaving to, take time off to be with his new baby that's born. He's made it clear that's what he's doing. He's been doing part-time. So technically he's already starting to get to that point. So this is going to be really interesting how they do that. And now we got to talk about CM Punk versus Finn Balor. This match this weekend has a lot of different things. Finn Balor does not want the Judgment Day. He wants to do it on his own. Or at least he's made the aggression. We all know that sometimes this is just a swerve. You could see Dominic and him coming down, either costing him the title or helping him get the title. And that would make it a three-way match at WrestleMania and having Balor there. I mean, there's so many different ways they could go with this. I think the smart thing would be leave it on Punk, and Balor gets cheated by his own Judgment Day, and that leads to Balor and a guy coming back to help him, and that would be Damian Priest, because that would be a good WrestleMania match. Dominic and what's the other guy that just came back from injury? Balor's tag team partner.
JD McDonough.
Yeah, I could see Dominic and JD McDonough versus Damian Priest and Finn Balor at WrestleMania. That would be a great match. Judgment Day versus Judgment Day. Back when they had, Ripley and Priest versus Balor and, or not Balor, Dominic and Liv. So I could see that. And of course, we got Liv is going to be at WrestleMania taking on Stephanie McCool. That's been done. Just a lot of different ways we could go with this, folks. It's going to be an interesting weekend, Ref. So tell us where they can find you each and every day.
Yeah, before you say anything about the CM Punk Finn Balor match, I was going to say that I think AJ Lee is going to beat Becky Lynch.
Yeah.
And then I think CM Punk wins, so you have AJ and CM Punk both walk out with belts. Plus, it's the mid-card women's belt, so Becky Lynch, loses it. It doesn't really matter a whole lot. I think they'll because the show's in Chicago, I think they'll let both of them walk out with a belt. And CM Punk is going to go into WrestleMania as the world champion. But, I think he finally deserves to go into WrestleMania as a champion. But see, I think this is going to be the beginning of the end of Judgment Day.
Yeah.
I think Finn Balor's going to lose, and then I think that he's going to blame Judgment Day for either not helping or the help's going to backfire. And I think it'll lead to Judgment Day eventually splitting up. But that's what I think is going to happen. I think WrestleMania will be the end of Judgment Day. But you can find me on YouTube just about every day at Ref Brandon and the Todd family. And you mentioned earlier, Jay, when we first got on the phone about ticket sales. And, that's one thing that I hate about the ticket sales is, are they outrageous? Absolutely.
Very much.
Can a regular family afford to go to a show anymore? No. But, all the fans are mad at Triple H, and Triple H does not make ticket prices. This is one thing you cannot blame on him. He don't make those prices.
TKO does.
He books the shows. He don't decide how much prices are. But the fans have all of a sudden so bad, Triple H, they've soured him so bad that everything that happens now they blame him for. He does not make ticket prices. That is not his decision at all.
I agree with you, but one thing he was in charge of was Cena's loss. And that's what they're never going to forgive him for, because of the way Cena lost. It is what it is. You can't go back and change it now. And someone else we got to think about is Gunther. What do you do with Gunther at this show? WrestleMania, does he go against the legend killer Randy Orton? And, Gunther could take on Brock Lesnar if Lesnar's leaving. Or he could wait and beat Lesnar at SummerSlam and be another one on his belt.
I do think that'll be the plan. I think at SummerSlam, Gunther will beat Brock in Brock's last match, and Brock will be another one that has his last match to Gunther. But that's the odd thing about WrestleMania is now all Gunther's done lately is retire people, and at WrestleMania there's nobody retired. But you can't leave him off the card. But, when a guy right now, his only big storyline is retiring people, and nobody's retired, what do you do with it?
Yep, I think he's taking on Dragon. Is he taking on Dragon Lee at Elimination Chamber?
It's not listed right now as far as on the match is going to happen, but it may end up being added on Saturday. But so far, it's not on the list of matches.
Yeah, well, I see Gunther. You know, Gunther could win the Intercontinental or U.S. title on Raw, whichever one is there, and then at WrestleMania and then defend it against Brock Lesnar. I mean, we could see something like that. I mean, there's a lot of different things that can happen. That, of course, folks, we're just throwing out our little ideas, and we're not part of WWE management, as you know, but we're just throwing it out there for fans. Hey, feel free to leave your messages on this. Tell us what you think. Who should be where? We've got to include WrestleMania with Elimination Chamber because it's the next one up. So, folks,
Yeah, I do think if Obafemi does answer Brock's challenge, I think that would be a way to have Gunther and Brock start their interaction, is somehow Gunther comes out there and makes Brock lose.
Yep.
And then the feud ends up, culminating at SummerSlam. But you've got to have Gunther do something at WrestleMania. But he's not in the chamber, and he's not really right now doing anything, so it's hard to say what he's going to do. But he's got to be in a match of some type somewhere.
I agree with you. I completely agree with you. All right, folks. Well, that's this week's version of Rasslin and Racing, brought to you by Arden Spring Grill in Central South Carolina. Go by and see Donnie and his little buddy, his son, Paul. Make sure you go by, see them. They'll be taking care of you, give you some great wings. Wednesday is Wing Day, $10.99 wings and fries. You cannot beat that. 10 wings and a big load of fries. Get you a nice cold drink. Boy, I tell you what's good. And then, of course, our Angie down at Beef and Rib, her and her sister just tearing it up down there with some homemade meals. And then, of course, we want to thank Dorsey Auto Sales in Anderson on Whitehall Road. We appreciate everything they do for us. And we want to also thank Ingalls, a possible new sponsor coming on. We want to thank them and let them know how much we appreciate them. And we want to thank you for watching and listening to us each and every week here on Rasslin Racing, brought to you by those sponsors. And of course, with my excellent man on the phone, we're talking about Ref Brandon. Also catch him on YouTube, Ref Brandon and the Todd Family. You can't miss him. He's great. He does all kinds of different things each and every day. It's not always wrestling. It's also racing. It's football. And then he's got a top 10 list on Wednesdays. That's usually when he does. And if you want him to do a top 10 list on something, all you got to do is comment on his videos, and he will be glad to do one. Talk to y'all later. This is Jay with Rasslin Racing for Greenville Sports Media. So long, everybody.